Hey y'all, we're gonna let some people get on here first off. I know it takes a minute to get this going, because I know also that I can also share it here in a little bit, but then I can post it and share it and we'll just leave it on my wall. But so here's my story with Samantha, and I'm sure that by now she's already got the heads up that I have called her out, and I'm sure she's like, who the fuck is Patty Burton from 2010? And I'm wondering if she went back and was like looking through my records. And then she's probably like, oh shit, okay, I bet I know what's going on now. Because listen, Samantha, remember when I told you when you arrested me not to arrest me for what you arrested me for, because you will regret it? Well, guess what? You're fixing to regret it. Because right now, you're regretting it. So this is the story from 2010 in January. It was a cold winter day, okay? I'm going to make this fun, okay? Because it is kind of funny. Because you're going to laugh about this here in a little bit. That's why I said I'd rather tell you the story on Facebook Live than writing it out, because you wouldn't get the gist of it and how funny it is. Because back then, whenever I told the story, it was hilarious. And everybody, was like, you're kidding me. They can't believe I got arrested for what I got arrested for. Anyway, here we go. So, January 2010, Zachary, my oldest son, he was 17, 2 to 3 months before he turned 18, okay? One of his there was 3 of his other friends. Blake, I'm not going to say their last names. They can come over here and say their names if they want to. Ethan and Jared. They were all at Mighell Park, which I dropped them off at. We lived about, a quarter mile from Mighell Park. They went to play, okay? Like I said, it was cold outside, winter. Got a call from a cop, told me that I needed to come down and to get the kids. So I go down there, and the boys are out standing in the cold, and Samantha's there as a cop, a canine cop, and then there's another cop there. I can never remember his name, which, God, he was just as involved as Samantha was, and really I wish I could remember his name. But anyway, she's the one that pisses me off even more because she did this shit. So whenever I went up there, she said something to me about one of the boys starting a fire in the trash can in the bathroom. And which it wasn't, it wasn't mine. It was one of the other boys. And I said, was anybody hurt? No, nobody was hurt. So I thought that I was going to take the boys home, which no harm, no foul, nothing was tore up. That's fine. And she wasn't concerned about it either. Well, then she started to get like an attitude with me. Patty's going to get one with her too. So I started to get an attitude. Mind you, the boys are still standing outside, okay? All 4 boys are still standing outside, okay? We're sitting there back and forth bickering, and finally the other cop gets the boys and starts putting them in the cop cars. And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing, okay? So they're going to end up taking the kids to juvie, which I knew better because, for one, I know the protocol between what you have to do to get the kids to go to, juvie. It's a big ordeal to take a kid to juvie. It's insane. But anyway, Samantha come up to me and started mouthing. I start mouthing. And she decided that she was going to, so I ended up calling Curtis. Curtis came down there, and see here, Curtis came down there, and we was all talking and stuff. And let's say right now that we're going to say how much I love this man. Believe me, let's say how much I love this man. Because we all know how much Patty is and how mouthy she is. You see my eye twitching. Curtis had the audacity to tell this woman they just changed her medication. Ugh. But anyway, and they did. So, we're thinking, okay, really, why would you tell this bitch that they just changed my medication? But, okay, whatever. Well, I'm still mouthing. The bitch puts me in handcuffs, okay? I shouldn't have said that. But she puts me in handcuffs. And I'm like, what is going on here? You're going to fucking arrest me for being a bitch? Well, she stands me there, and she stands me there, and she puts me in the back of her cop car. And she's fixing to put me in the back of her cop car. And I told Curtis, I said, this is bullshit. I said, call our lawyer. Well, one of the other cops is taking the boys out, and they start taking pictures of the boys. And I look at Curtis, and I look at Samantha, and I said, I'm going to tell you right fucking now, don't do this. Don't fucking do what you're fixing to do. And I said, I know what you're going to do. Don't fucking do it. I said, if you're going to arrest me for being a bitch, not for what you're going to do. And she laughed at me. And she put me in the back of her fucking cop car. So, I get to the jail. The other cop takes me. After I'm nauseous in her fucking car because it's like, I don't know, a sardine can in there, and the dog fucking stinks to high hell. It smells like a wet dog in there. So, Errol needs popcorn. So, anyway, the other cop takes me in there. He puts me in the jail part, okay? When you go in there, you just sit in the jail, and then they I don't really know because I've never been, booked or whatever. But they go in, they sit you down right beside a desk. So I go in there and I sit at this desk, okay? And I'm there, and I'm just like, okay, so what's going on? Still sitting. I'm not quite sure how to help you with that. Fucking Alexa. I'm still sitting there. And, hey, no, don't blame the dog. The dog stinks, Errol. Hush it. Anyway, I'm on a mission. We cannot fuck with my ADHD, okay? Stop it. Okay. I'm sitting there, and one of the girls was like, hey, Patty, she said, the door's open over there. She said, I don't have no paperwork, and you've been here for like 2 hours, and, you can just go home. She said, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what you've been arrested for. So if you want to leave, leave. And I was like, nah. I said, I'll just stay here. Because really and truly, they're going to just come to my house and arrest me again, put me in handcuffs and do this shit. I said, we'll see what the charges are. And I said, I'm fixing to make a fool of this woman because she's already irritated me because of what she's arrested me for, which I know what she's arrested me for. And, before then I told Curtis, whenever she was putting me in the cop car and I knew that she was taking pictures of the boys, her and the other cop was taking pictures of the boys, I told Curtis to call our lawyer first. And then whenever they started taking pictures of the boys, I said, call our lawyer and call my mom. And he was like, okay. And I said, tell them what's going on. And he said, okay. I'll get with the picture here in a minute with my mom. Okay. And yeah, Lee, you do. There's don't you. That's what I said. If anybody's been on my Facebook in 2010, y'all remember this because this is bullshit. So after, 2 hours, apparently they finally get paperwork, and they put me in a cell. Okay. And I'm sitting in a cell in there doing not a damn thing. So then I finally get, to talk to pretrial, and they call Curtis, and I guess Curtis comes up there and he bails me out. And I was like, okay, so what did you do? And he said, I just had to sign you out. The judge let me sign you out. And he said, apparently you've been charged with child endangerment. I said, excuse me? Yeah, child endangerment. I said, oh, this is fucking great. Fucking great. And he said, yeah. He said, guess what? I said, what? He said, you also can't be around the boys by yourself. I said, do what? He said, yeah, you can't be around the boys by yourself. I said, oh, you're fucking kidding me. Now, my kids are fixing to turn 18 3 months before he turned 18. Okay? 3 months before he turned 18. I can't be around him, Gage, or Skylar. Skylar was 10 at the time, okay? 10. Could not be around him at that time by myself. For fuck's sake. Are you kidding me? Okay. Anyway. I go home and I read my police report. The police report was that my kids, or my son, and the boys that were with them, mind you, I have only heard of me being charged with 1 count of child endangerment, okay? 1 count. That's all I've heard of, okay? Reading the police report says that they were not properly dressed. And on there it says they did not have winter coats on. Winter coats? The fucking kids were 16, 17 years old. I think one of them might have been 15. They had t-shirts, long sleeve shirts on, hoodies. You know, they were dressed in layers. Who the fuck wears a winter coat? You know? I said, oh, we're gonna fix this shit, okay? So the next morning I'm like, okay, let's do this. It snowed, okay? So we go to Mike Miller Park and I take pictures. Of all these kids sledding down Mike Miller Park, the hill. And guess what? None of these kids have fucking winter coats on. I'm dying. I got all these pictures. It's great. Okay? Well, then we get home and my mom, oh fuck, man, I've already went past this. But anyway, wait a minute. See, that's what y'all fuck with me, okay? Whenever I get home, because I forgot to tell you about my mom and her friend. Okay, whenever I get home from jail, see, my mother used to be a social worker, so I knew something was going on with the kids, okay? So I call my mom. My mom calls one of the main social workers, which she was the main social worker at the time. She calls me and says, Patty, what the fuck is going on? So I tell her what's going on. She said, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. I said, no, I ain't kidding you. So she said, okay, let me see what's going on in the morning and I will call you back, okay? So that was that, okay? So now the next day, we go to Mike Miller Park. I'm taking pictures of all these kids running around with no fucking jacket on, you know, just hoodies. And hell, half of them don't even have fucking hoodies on, okay? So then we get home and my mother has gotten me a Paducah Sun paper, okay? And guess what is on the fucking front page of a Paducah Sun? You'll never guess. I mean, I cannot make this shit up. And I posted it on Facebook. And I have to find the picture. I can't find it because I was trying to find it before I said I was going to do this live video. But there's 2 kids on there. 2 kids. They're sledding. One of them's on a sled and one of the other one's pushing them. Neither one of these little fuckers have got a fucking jacket on. Neither one of them do, okay? But I'm going to jail for it and got child endangerment for it, okay? I don't know. I'm still blown away about this. Great job, okay? So anyway, okay, so, you know, my court date's fixing to come up. And Jeff Edwards was the county attorney at the time, which he was a friend of the family. He had known Curtis forever. And I coached his daughter in soccer like 100 years ago when she was like 4 or 5. And so we've known him for years. And he got with Curtis. He seen Curtis out one day and he said, "Hey Curtis," he said, "Why don't you ask Patty if she will say that the cops had no wrongdoing, that we'll drop all the charges." Curtis laughed. Curtis said, "Jeff, she's not going to do that. You know this." And I was like, he'd come home and told me that shit. I said, "Who are they trying to bribe? They're bribing the wrong bitch right now." I said, "We're going to trial." I said, "We're going to trial. They're going to fuck around and find out with this one. I don't care. They're going to drop the charges or we're going to fucking trial. And I'm going to make every one of these bastards look like a fool. Don't care who you are or who you fucking work for. We're going to trial." And one of the parents was already like, "I'll call WPSD. We're bringing them all in. We'll have everybody up there. Okay. This is great." So the parents are even pissed. And, so I go to my court date and I'm not bringing in my own lawyer. Not going to do it. So I take a public defender. Oh my God, which this fucker was an idiot. And you know, they don't work for you. They work for the state. And the guy comes back and he's like, "Hey, Miss Burton, they said that they would drop the charges if you would say that the cops had no wrongdoings." I said, "Yeah, you can go back and tell them I said not a chance in hell that we're going to trial." And I go up there and I tell them that, you know, I'm not guilty. And I look back at Jeff and I said, "Yep, not guilty. We're going to trial." I said, "If that's what we want to do, you know, that's it. If that's what we're going to do, we're going to do it." And Jeff just, you know, he puts his head down and just shakes his head. He knew what he's getting into, you know. Well, where's Samantha at? That girl's nowhere to be found. Neither is the other fucking cop. I mean, if you're going to arrest me, why ain't you there? Why? Don't have a clue. Anyway, next time I go to court, okay? I go to court 3 fucking times. The last time the court or the lawyer comes up to me and said, "Miss Burton," he said, "I really think that it's in your best interest, you know, to take the deal that they will, let's see, if you don't do anything within the next 2 years, that it will come off of your record, you know, within 2 years or whatever." I said, "Are you crazy?" He said, "Well, I think that's really what you need to do." I said, "You know what?" I said, "You fucking work for me. You don't work for them. I need you to go back and tell them that we're going to trial. Next time we go to court, we're going to trial. I don't care what anybody else says. The next court date we had, we're not dragging this shit along. We're going to trial." And he went back up there, and then they called me up there, and the judge talked to Jeff Edwards, and then the judge looked back at me, and he said, he looked at Jeff, and he said, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" And Jeff said, "Yes." Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to tell you. It wasn't 1 count of fucking child endangerment. It was 4. 4 counts of child endangerment. Because these little bastards didn't have fucking, 4 of them didn't have coats on. So it was 4 counts. I forgot to tell you. See, this is what's wrong with me. I'm not medicated for ADHD. I'm medicated for bipolar, you know? Ugh, yeah. So, yeah, 4 counts of child endangerment. So, yeah, 4 counts of child endangerment. So, yeah, I told him, and the judge asked Jeff, he said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And Jeff is like, "Yeah." And he looked at me and he said, "Well, Miss Burton," he said, "case dismissed." And, I mean, yeah, I looked back at Jeff and I was like, really? 3 times. 3 times. It took 3 court dates to do this. 3 court dates. And just because this bitch didn't want to arrest me for being a bitch, or she couldn't shut her fucking mouth, or she couldn't walk fucking away. She wanted to charge somebody for fucking child endangerment. And that, you know what? That charge is still on my fucking record. Even though it says dismissed, and even though that Jeff Edwards said that motherfucker was coming off, ain't nobody took that motherfucker off yet. And it's been since 2010. Okay? Yes. Yeah, it's been that long, and my fucking arrest record, it's still there. But she wanted to be that big of a bitch that she wanted to be, oh, I'm, all that in a bag of fucking chips. Well, how's it feel now, bitch? How's it feel now? You didn't get your fucking way. I didn't get no fucking charges. And apparently you're doing this shit to a lot of other people. A lot of other people. Huh. What's going to happen whenever all this other shit fucking comes out? And you know what? I hope my shit's on live, and I'm going to post it to my wall, and it's on fucking public. And I've already got like 20 friend requests since I posted that I was going to go live about your ass. And I hope somebody fucking sends this to you. And you know what? You should send me a fucking friend request. You know what? I can't tag you because, we're not friends. Send me a friend request. I'll tag you. I ain't scared because this happened. This was the truth. I ain't got nothing to fucking hide. And if you don't like it, quit doing your bullshit. How you got this fucking job blows my fucking mind. You done got kicked out of fucking Murray. You got kicked out of Marshall once already. How the fuck do you keep coming up with a fucking job? That's what I want to know. I got some ideas. I got some ideas. Blows my fucking mind though. One of these days, somebody's going to blow the lid off of it. And really and truly, I hope they fucking come to me. Because it will make my motherfucking day. Make my fucking day. Yep. But it makes my day today to tell you, you can go fuck yourself. Because guess what? I told you you would fucking regret it one day. And today, you've got about, there's only like, 50, 60 people on here. But I know how many people that's going to see this motherfucker here in a little bit. And you're going to be the talk of the town. Because you don't know how to be a fucking cop. You don't know how to use your authority right. You haven't. You haven't known how to use your authority since 2010. Because you can't take a smart ass fucking bitch to put you in your fucking place. How about that? How about that? Still putting you in your place. What are you going to arrest me for? Being a bitch? Can't get me for child endangerment. Ain't got no child now. Got no child around me. It's okay. You'll get yours. You'll get yours just like everybody will get theirs. Maybe I'll get mine one day. Don't know what I'm getting it for, but maybe I will. Okay? Y'all be safe. Hey, and guess what? School started, and I forgot about this too. Because remember when I always used to do my lives, I always used to say, don't be the fucking bully, And this rings true this year. This fucking rings true. Because I know of some kids that are not spending their fucking years this year in school because of somebody. I'll come out and say it. Because of Oakley. They're not spending their school years in school this year. They're doing it for, they're being homeschooled because they're being bullied. So whoever's doing the bullying, and to the parents, to the kids that are doing the bullying, shame on you. Shame on you. And really and truly, to the fucking parents, I can be a bully. Oh, I can totally be a bully. If I find out who you are, I can be very, 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 very heartless. Heartless. And I would love to be. Love to be. So if we find out who these people are, why don't you send them my way? Because we could have a talk. We can have a talk. I can be nice or I can be mean. Okay? Don't be a fucking bully. Ain't nobody better than anybody else around here. Just because you're from fucking Marshall County, you ain't got shit. Ain't nobody else got shit. You know who owns shit? The fucking bank. If you got shit around here, you know what you're doing for it? You're either selling drugs or you fucking married into it. Or the bank owns it. That's what you fucking got. You ain't got shit. So there you go. Why are you bragging about your shit? Quit bragging about your shit. But anyway, this was supposed to be about Samantha, and that's what it was. But anyway, quit being a fucking bully. You don't need to be. It's fucking stupid. Steve Oakley, your day's fucking coming, you piece of shit. Y'all have a good day, and have a good night.